favorite podcast, everybody. Girls Unscripted.
She's charming and she's Carolyn.
She's Beauty and she's Grace. And we are here again covering Bachelor in Paradise weeks 5 and 6 because I went to Cabo.
You went to Cabo and you came back smoking hot.
Thank you so much, sister, but a lot of sun damage.
I don't belong here. I'm not hot enough to be here. And I'm glad you came back looking hot because last time you came back with cornrows and we had to have a conversation.
Oh, we didn't do that, Gabbers. She's lying. I'm woke enough to not do that. Other things, not so sure. But yeah, Cabo was amazing. Yeah, it was stupid fun. I mean, we pooled, we went snorkeling, we did all the stuff.
I just want to say, regardless of what the critics have said, you were great as Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl over the weekend.
Grace, look, okay, guys,
look, great.
I was not Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ Superstar over the holiday weekend.
I also want to congratulate you on your blockbuster hit, Naked Gun.
Did you watch it?
No. All right, here's a question. Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson, real or fake?
I can see it. I think it's real.
Okay, I can see it too, except they wrapped on the movie a year ago.
Well, who says they haven't been dating for a year?
Why wouldn't they have been public about it? Why did they wait to go public right when the film came out?
Well, publicity. I think it could be an and. I think they could let's keep it under wraps, and then when we launch the film, let's go balls to the walls. I'm also very naive and trusting.
I want it to be real, to be clear.
Oh, yeah.
Hopeless romantic forever. But the timing seems suspicious.
I'm trying to remember which show it was that her son was on the reality show. Was it The Hills? You know what it was? I just remembered it was The Hills reboot with Misha Barton. Oh my God, I forgot this existed for one season.
Wow. Sister, you have also brought it around full circle back to reality TV, which is why we're here.
Right. It always comes back down, the common denominator.
Because what we need to talk about is some grown-ass men dressing up as birds.
Oh my God. Holy shit. So Gabbers, we are covering both weeks. We'll just do week 5, a brief recap, and we will timestamp below when we're moving on to week 5 and 6. So if you just want to listen to week 6, do as you please. It's a free country.
Because week 5 is mostly going to be talking about birds.
Week 5 is mainly birds, chocolate, and Susie.
Oh my God.
And Alicia.
That's right. Let's see. We have Faith come. We have Leia came.
Yes.
And Nancy.
And Jonathan went on a date with Leah, which, what do you think, Grace? What do you think about these two? Give me your thoughts.
Jonathan is, again, he still has my vote for best all around.
Still, after this episode?
Just because, I would take a road trip with him. I think he would be fun. I think he would pick out fun snacks. I think he would be good at playing 21 questions, alphabet bingo, et cetera, et cetera. What we're not talking about enough is how this man could go to the Olympics for staying in the friend zone. He is
from
gifted.
His doing?
He's a gifted student at staying in the friend zone.
But I think he failed. I think if this were a test in the friend zone, I think he has failed miserably both times because here was his problem. He had a foul ball when he both led them on.
But what I'm saying is by leading them on, he did successfully, maybe what he's successful at is staying out of the romance zone. Because I'm actually, I noticed it, spot it, you got it. I'm really good at staying in the friend zone.
Nice.
Which means I'm really good at reminding people we're just friends. Jonathan's really good at reminding people I'm not going to date you.
No, great. He's horrible at it. He needs to remind people a little bit more.
But no. But I mean, his behavior ultimately reflects that they're not going to date because we'll get into what happened with Leia at the end. Ultimately, he sets himself up for failure every single time. I feel like a life coach would really have a field day and be like, you're self-sabotaging. He's the pinnacle self-sabotager.
Yeah. I also think he just knows what he wants and he just knows it's not what he had in front of him. But he also knows that he has to like them to stay there.
He's bad at saying what he wants. He knows what he wants, but he won't claim it.
That's what I would say. I would give him an F in.
He can name it, he won't claim it.
Exactly. And what the therapist would tell him on the nose. They went on a date. They went what? They did RVing or something?
They went in a muddy car.
I got about 0% attraction from his side. If you had to give it a percentage, where'd you land?
I think he had more chemistry with the mud and the car than he did with Leia.
Right. Cool.
However, we did see a date not featuring mud, but featuring chocolate with Gary and Nancy, where they just got high.
What? Okay, so did they get high? I was like, did I miss this? Is it weed? Was it mushrooms? Like what?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was some kind of mushrooms or something, but I think they were just leaning into it.
Because I was like, I would be shocked if production would be cool with geriatrics doing that. I don't know. It'd be a liability.
It also makes me wonder if, like, in the same way that we saw Alex and Andrew get jitter, or no, it was Bailey and Andrew. Who was it that went on the coffee date? They went on the coffee date and they were like tweaking.
Yeah, it seeped into their pores.
This was that equivalent, but because Gary and Nancy are in their 60s, they were just looped out.
They were looped the F out. And I gotta say, I thought Nancy had it. I thought he was like, man, this is the prize.
Nancy felt like a big hot commodity when she arrived.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest, sister, I don't see it.
Okay, interesting.
Only because, like, normally when there's a hot commodity, it's because, like, Gary is a hot commodity because of his joie de vivre.
Right.
You know,
right.
Welcome to Gary Dice. But Nancy, like, okay.
Yeah, I think she does give a popular girl air, and not like an asshole popular girl. Maybe a little mean girly when she was in middle school, but just a touch. But I you know, this is all judgments based off of this person I've seen for about 2 minutes total on TV.
So they come back. Jonathan and Leia have been on a date. Gary and Nancy go get high off of chocolate on a date, and they come back and they see everyone dressed up as literal birds of paradise.
We dabble in light bird pageantry, if you will. It is the weirdest thing I've seen. And Grace, can we do a role play for a minute?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so we're in the creative meeting of what they should do.
Okay.
Well, like, what if we had them, like, throw water balloons and hit each other if they got a question wrong?
I need something more exotic.
What if they all dressed up like fucking birds and did mating dances around one another and had the opportunity to join the mating dance if you wanted to mate with that bird?
Can we slather them in makeup and glitter?
And we can make it a drag show at the exact same time. Is that enough?
Yep. All right. Sold.
Okay. Got it. I mean, props to them. I want to know your favorite bird.
I mean, they committed to the bit. I have to say, I appreciated the guys on this show, particularly like a Dale and a Brian and a Jeremy, are very like heteronormative.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was a little surprised that they were like, no, cake me in contouring.
They all dove in. I was very impressed with that as well. If I had to do that, I would be the awkward edit.
Sister, I don't believe that. Also,
Absolutely.
You're already, given how hot you are coming back from Mexico, I would be the awkward guy.
This is not overnight.
I have to say, it is a shame. And obviously, this is part of our activism and being the faces of this movement. I wish more people watch this show because I want social media coverage. I want wall-to-wall coverage and memes of the Birds of Paradise. Like, I wanted to see, there's like only a couple of accounts on the internet that do memes of the show. And I want wall-to-wall, like, I want as many memes as there were about the Coldplay concert.
Oh my God.
About these Birds of Paradise, about Dale's. This is Dale.
I was going to say, somehow, oddly, everyone did look really attractive. Grace, if you're not watching, Grace is putting vines over her head. Yeah, it looked like that. I thought everyone looked pretty attractive, except Dale somehow went down in attractiveness. He had like a Pebbles feel to him.
Dale looked like a Vegas showgirl in 1984, during the Reagan administration.
But it's also giving like Dumb and Dumber vibes, but with red hair, like Jim Carrey back in the 90s type thing.
Disaster. They do the Birds of Paradise. I don't even really understand the rules. They dance around. They look like idiots, but they all committed to the bit. Respect.
Yeah. Respect.
But what's important is that
a brand. Oh no.
Oh, you want to do the contestant?
Yeah, well, that's what you were gonna say.
No, I was going to talk about Jeremy. Also, Jeremy was wearing a plague mask, I felt as though.
Yes, okay, yes. His was frightening.
They got that mask from the Vatican, from the Black Plague.
Yeah.
That's what he was wearing. And that's what he was wearing when he said to Brian and Dale, I wish I'd picked Susie.
And he also said, I don't want to say it with my mic on, and then proceeds to say it with his mic on.
The men on this show are so simple. And not in a good way.
Jeremy, and this will be a theme throughout both of these episodes, is that Jeremy is a little Ted Bundy. Bailey is so head over heels for this guy, and he gives me the weebie-jeebies.
Yep. No, he is a little Ted Bundy. He is a little Ted Bundy. And who played Ted Bundy? Zac Efron?
Yes.
You got to have the Riz. He has enough Riz to Bailey's face.
Yes.
But the difference between what he says on camera to her and what he says off camera about her is shocking.
If I ever have a teenage daughter, I'm going to sit her down and make her watch this to be like, just so you know, some guys are crazy. Watch this. And then they will never get their heart broken because I'll protect them forever.
Also, shout out to Gabber, my friend Shelly. She was firing off commentary as she was watching, which I love. If people start to watch the show and they'll text me and they're like, I'm sorry, I'm texting you my commentary. And I'm like, no, one, that's how I text all day, every day. But two, keep it going, babe.
That's what it's for. Yeah.
She said an insult that we really need to bring back, which is, I hope Jeremy sits on a tack. That's a good one. We need to bring it back.
Oh my God, I remember saying that to my ex in college. No, I said, I'd rather eat a box of tacks than get back together with you.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Not to one-up you, but in college, I met this hot guy at a party my senior year, and I introduced myself, and he said, oh, we've met before. I got on the elevator with you freshman year, and I took the elevator to the second floor, and he said I was in my ballet outfit. I was in like ballet clothes. I looked at him and I said, that is so selfish of you to take the elevator one floor. I hope you sit on a tack. And what was most alarming to me is that I didn't remember that interaction.
I was going to say, I have never heard you not remember something you've done in your life.
With that being said, how many other guys have I told to sit on a tack and forgotten about it?
It's just a bank of memories that you've blacked out. You say it all the time.
We need to bring that insult back. I hope Jeremy sits on a tack. So Jeremy tells Brian, and it was funny because he said it to Brian and Dale when they were in the, oh my God, it was giving I'll Make a Bravo reference. You know when Tom Sandoval is like in drag and he's like,
yes.
What is he screaming about?
Yes, he's like, look, he's a battered wife, or whatever.
That was the vibe. They were like, their eyes were so heavy laden with eyeliner they could barely see. And he's like, if Susie came back right now, I'd propose on the spot.
Like, we all heard the phone call, which he also tells them about, by the way, saying, oh yeah, and we called her in the confessional to say, wrong, I picked the wrong person type of thing. The audacity. But that phone call wasn't giving sparks to me.
She was literally just like, oh, sorry, I'm about to get on a plane.
She literally said, I'm like, can't, period, bye. But whatever, Jeremy is just sold on Susie. I'll be curious to see if she says anything about this.
Well, I'd forgotten that Jeremy and Brian had like an altercation on Jen's season.
Oh yeah, what was he referring to? They did have an altercation.
So Brian rolled up in some kind of luxury car that I cannot be bothered to remember.
Corvette.
Sure.
I remember from this episode.
You actually remember it was a Corvette?
Mm-hmm.
God, you're so cool and you're so pretty. Fine. I wish I was as pretty as you and as cool as you. All right, he rolls up in a car. Jeremy in the premiere took Jen aside and went and got in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brian came over and was like, dude, where's my car? That's mine. And they kind of had a standoff, which like I have to say, I love a Bachelor standoff in the premiere when they're vying for the lead's time.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them they're polite about it.
They're trying to handle the situation in a good way when they both would punch each other were there no cameras. Yeah.
Because they're the kind of guys that would punch each other where there are no cameras, we know that Brian is holding a grudge, which actually that is the first and only time I've related to Brian because I too love I love to hold a grudge. Not the luxury car.
The way they talk about it, I feel like Jeremy holds a bigger grudge with Brian than Brian with Jeremy. Or do you think Brian's plot and hate for Jeremy has to stem back to the Corvette?
Oh, it definitely stems back to the Corvette. So that's another thing is I was watching. So at the end of last week and at the top of this week, we saw footage of Brian saying like, I'm going to torpedo their relationship. And so I was watching. I probably watched, 3 hours of TV waiting to see where and how Brian was going to torpedo it, which didn't even happen. They ultimate reality moved. They teased us, which good job. I fell for it. I would say the real reason that he goes after Jeremy and wants to reveal what Jeremy said about Susie, because also the other thing I was thinking about is when Brian said, he said, I think it was still in the teaser, he says, Bailey's going to find all of this out anyway on TV.
Yes.
Watches back, I may as well tell her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, sister, I hate to see it, but he wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong. I'm all for Brian going and exploding this entire relationship.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's not going to go well next week for him, which kind of bums me out.
Well, also, we see Brian, so back to the Birds of Paradise.
Yes, back to
Brian
Birds.
and Parisa win that date, whatever that means.
Because they had the best, mating dance.
Of course he does. He's from Miami. He's not even from, I don't know where he's from, but
Grace,
spiritually he's from Miami.
A reminder to Gabbers, Grace went to the University of Miami. She loves Miami people.
They go to the VIP suite. He goes with Parisa. Here's the thing I want to say. Maya Angelou, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Parisa should have listened, paid any attention to how Brian treated Zoe when he first turned on her, because as soon as they get to the suite, Brian starts acting very weird. And this is also a qualm I have with editing, because we never really got to the bottom of what was going on between them.
Right.
They're in the pool and she's like, what's your favorite color? She's just like asking him goofy questions. And by the way, you know who would be really good at answering those questions? Jonathan, my friend Zone King.
Right. Yeah.
He's whimsical. He would do it.
He's a yes-ander. He would be.
Brian has zero whimsy.
Zero whimsy. This summer is a bleak one for him.
He didn't ever say, hey, can you stop joking around? Hey, I don't want to answer these questions. He was just weird in the pool.
Yeah, he was weird.
The next morning, they're still weird. And she was like, last night wasn't great. But I'm listening to that and I'm like, okay, well, last night wasn't great because he didn't tell you his favorite color? Like, what actually happened?
Well, I think that you're right. He was being fucking weird. And Parisa was giving, as a female, I can say this. She was almost giving on her period energy where she was just like, I just know it's wrong and everything's wrong right now. And it just is. And that's how life is.
Yep.
And also, sister, she's not wrong. She's not wrong to clock this weird energy and be like, I don't know if I want to be with this guy.
Correct. And by the way, this just popped into my head. I'm not coming on to your husband right now when I say, you know who would have responded really well to something's wrong and I feel like something's wrong? Memorable Kyle, your husband.
Memorable Kyle. He'd be all over it. We talk so much about feelings.
It just sympathetic and empathetic. Brian is not. We do need to mention, would you like to intro who comes in during Birds of Paradise?
Yes, a new bombshell enters the villa. Alicia, 29 years old, from Tampa, former Miss California. Woo-woo.
She catches the eye of Sean. Jill's meltdown made me so bummed because Jill basically decided, Sean seems too into Alicia, I'm going to go. The way that she left, she's not a good complainer. I'm thinking about, stay with me. I'm thinking about that line from Space Jam when Michael Jordan, stay with me, when he plays baseball and he strikes out and he talks about striking out. And this guy says to him, you look good. At least you look good when you strike out. Jill didn't look good when she struck out.
No, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
She's bad at whining. And so she just she cried and left.
Yeah, she took it out on production. She left literally in the middle of everything. So that wasn't a good look for her. But look, I get it. She's frustrated. But also, she went to Bachelor in Paradise. Didn't she do this last time?
Yes. Yes.
I forgot about that.
That's what I'm saying is learn how to be better at complaint, which by the way, this was a note I made later in the show. The way that Leslie complains and is disappointed is so permeating that I was disappointed for her. The way that she expresses her disappointment is so powerful that I was like, oh God, the earth has shattered here.
Yeah.
Jill, I'm just like, babe, stop being a sore loser.
Yeah, it is. It is giving sore loser. Look, she came in at the wrong time. Jonathan hasn't hit it off with anyone, and he's been there longer than she has.
Correct.
On the flip side of it. So
Yep.
I think it's part of the game. If you're going to be late to Paradise, which would suck. I would hate. Do you know, Grace, if you're on the show when you're going to be introduced? Or are you just waiting?
You are waiting in a hotel room.
Does that not drive you batshit crazy?
Yes, correct.
I would be going insane. Can you go anywhere?
No, you can't. My friend, this wasn't Bachelor in Paradise, but my friend Becca was on The Voice in 2020.
Oh, wow.
And it was during COVID. And so she was in a hotel room 23 hours a day. We worked out on Zoom. We would do like workouts on Zoom probably 3 times a day just to pass the time because she was in a hotel room.
Oh my gosh.
And they, they couldn't go outside. But no, you don't know when you're going. You're hoping that you get in early because if you come in late, everyone's already coupled up.
Right.
So to wrap up, that was week 5. And we end with, there wasn't even a rose ceremony. The rose ceremony was at the top of week 6.
Yeah. And with Alicia comes a little bit of sexual tension with none other than Dale himself. And we get into another deaded sort of territory with Kat and Dale. What did you think of this, Grace?
It seems like Kat and Dale had moved on from the deaded drama, and in that exchange, Kat made it clear to Dale that his interactions with Allie Joe at the time, she was uncomfortable with his behavior.
Who's Allie Joe?
Allie Joe was the one that he kissed.
Oh, yeah,
that she
I
got
forgot.
mad about. Yeah, she's the origin of deaded it. He deaded it.
That seems like years ago. My God, that was 2 days ago. That was forever ago.
And so you'd think that, like, okay, he knows how not to trigger Kat moving forward. Nope.
The way he responds to questions, like, will you just ask me random things?
What's your favorite color?
There are colors.
What is the weather like today?
Clouds exist.
Do you think it's pretty privilege for Dale? Like, is it that he's just been good enough looking his whole life that he, like,
can evade any question whatsoever and, like,
Yeah.
not get an answer about it?
And also, if in, like, the Bachelor Nation influencer culture, your looks are your currency,
Yeah.
Kat is not wrong to align herself with Dale.
Yeah.
They as a couple are pretty and could be like couple influencers together.
Right.
But in terms of all of his other qualities, babe, run.
Yeah, run. And their conversation here, Dale is pushing Kat to be more open, and he's referencing a vague hiding situation, like she's hiding something of her past. Do you know what that's in reference to?
No, I don't. But he was speaking about it as though she committed murder when she was 10 and hasn't told him where the bodies are buried. But this is interesting because normally Dale is so vague. This was specific enough that we as viewers were like, what are you talking about? Because he was like, you need to open up to me and you need to be honest. And there's nothing you could tell me that I judge you for.
Which is the craziest thing he could have said. Literally last week, she was like, have you kissed anyone else? And he was like, you're just like my ex. Like, he is the judgiest person we've seen on this show.
But again, the fact that he said that indicates that there was something about her past that she's maybe alluded to that she hasn't been upfront with.
I was like, has she been to prison? My mind went to prison.
I thought, did she steal something?
Yeah. Was there an affair? Oh, there could be an affair.
But this is what was interesting about it is that Dale is normally full of vagaries, and this was something so specific that we were like, what are you talking about?
Dale, what are you talking about?
So he's like, I need you to open up. And another red flag about Dale is that the way that he was talking about potential with Alicia, if I were Kat and I heard that later, I'd be like, you were never all in on us. You were never even one toe in the water on us.
Yeah, no, we are donezo. And I wonder how this all ends and if they're still together, what she had to say about it now, watching it back. Because I think he wanted to pick Alicia. I was surprised he didn't.
Alicia went on the date with Sean.
Can I give a real quick side note about Sean?
Sure.
I realized this week that he's actually insanely attractive. I thought but it's because I realized, oh my God, he's tall. For some reason, he was giving me short energy. And then when I realized physically he is tall, it changed my mind.
My friend Tom actually said the exact same thing. And what I said to that
about
is...
Sean?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
She was like, he's
that's
really
a weird
tall.
thing to say.
When you said that just now, I was like, did you guys talk? Because I was watching with her and she said that exact same thing. And what I said is how he's changed since charity season is he's developed some TMJ and his jaw has filled out. I have a lot of questions for his dentist about, it looks like he spends all night grinding his teeth because his jaw has filled out from her season.
He's so stressed out. But thank goodness they have that date with Alicia, who again wanted to take Dale, but took Sean because she knew that they were going to kiss on the date. She's not dumb. Like, there's going to be kissing. And I think she knew not to be dumb enough to do that with Dale right off the bat to start a lot of drama.
Which also made it strange, the way that Dale was talking about Alicia as though she were an actual option when they'd actually barely interacted.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's strange to me, is that he's been with Kat for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, but Kat's not former Miss California.
Well, she also hasn't disclosed what she went to prison for. but
her record is a little cleaner.
But so the way in which he was able to entertain Alicia as a viable option when he hadn't really interacted with her at all was very telling of how much he's not interested in Kat.
Yeah, exactly. But he picked her, which was crazy, which leads us to the men's rose ceremony. 3 Goldens must go home. Let's just run through the obvies. Look, we got, Spencer and Jess. There they are.
Who would have thought?
Who kiss, kiss, kiss. Brian and Parisa do make it through. Who else would he have picked? He had to pick Parisa. Andrew and Alex, which they seem to be really hitting it off, or she seems to really, really like him. I think he likes her. I don't know if it's as reciprocal as I want it to be yet.
I will say this, I was revisiting Andrew's social media while you were in Mexico because I had nothing else to do while you were gone.
Oh my God.
I forgot that he's friends with Justin Glaze and Greg Grippo from Katie's season. And I have to say, they do funny shit on social media. They are whimsical. They are into the summer of whimsy.
Yeah.
And that makes him a good fit for someone like Alex, I feel.
Yeah.
He's super whimsical. He tries to speak French, and he doesn't know French.
He doesn't know French. It's hilarious. Bailey and Jeremy, and Dale picks Kat. He doesn't pick Alicia, so that leaves Sean to grab her up all for himself. And then we have Jonathan picking Leah, because again, who else was he gonna pick? He could have picked April, and he should have, because she did that to him, and he doesn't really like Leah.
She's gonna go home. April is going home because she picked Jonathan. Because she picked Jonathan, there were less Goldens to choose from.
Yeah.
That's why she got sent home.
She shot herself in the foot. Oh my God, we didn't talk about the shot scene with April. Was that this episode or with Dale?
Oh, that was last episode.
But I mean, April loves her some young men. I mean,
she does.
I was clutching my pearls when Dale was taking the lime out of her mouth.
Yeah. No, that was sensual.
It was nuts. But you're right. April essentially sent herself home.
She goes home, which, by the way, the Goldens are much better losers than the Youngs.
Well, that's like what you get with age.
She said, like, I have learned to be loved.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to say something here. Look, I think it's so cool that these people at this stage in their life got to all come together and essentially get to know each other and be in a cool environment and kind of party out for a couple weeks and feel connection and feel love. And that's why I am excited for retirement communities. I think they should begin sooner, and I would ask if I could join one right now if I could. I think it's like living in dorms.
Okay, I have never thought about this until right this second. You and Memorable Kyle, your husband, are prime candidates for loving retirement community, I feel.
Oh my gosh, we would have you would make friends, you could gossip door to door.
Hopefully by the time we are aged into, because a lot of them have like an age minimum. Mm-hmm. Hopefully by the time we reach that age, polygamy will be legal in the United States and we can actually be legally married, so we all have to go together, because let me tell you who I want to be in a retirement community with, it's you guys.
Oh my God, that's sister, of course. We'd have you right there. We don't have to be in bunk beds because we're like medically not well by this point.
Sure. You and Kyle are like, see you at the shuffleboard.
Yeah. I just feel like it would be so fun. It's like camp all over again. I say that. But, Kyle wants to age. What's it called these days? Age in place. Like do it at your home. Get a 24/7 person.
Oh, cool. Is he a billionaire?
Yeah.
That's, by the way, like that's my plan. I don't have designs on getting married. My life plan is to make as much money as possible to pay for retirement.
Oh, nice. And faceless.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
That's pre-retirement though.
Yeah, that's like now. For me, not you. You look great.
I didn't come back from Mexico looking super hot. Only one of us did that.
Stop that.
April got sent home.
Keith picks Kathy, and it sounds like they're just friends.
I have to say about Keith and Kathy, I want them to be my parents. Meaning, like, if they were together, I would want to go to their house if there was a natural disaster. Like I would, I would want to go shelter in place with them because they're maternal and paternal enough to take care of people, but they're fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Keith especially has some whimsy.
It's a shame that their sexual chemistry doesn't seem to be as strong. It feels a little stronger on Kathy's side than Keith's side.
Yeah.
From what we've seen. They've only had that one date in like the penthouse. But I like them together as well. I think they're super fun. And Gary picks Leslie. He doesn't pick Nancy, which I was surprised by, but it also makes me like Gary even more of like, oh, he like really did make a connection with Leslie. And he was like, no, this was great, but I'm sticking to my girl.
Yeah.
Love that for them.
And so Natasha, Nancy, and April go home. Mm-hmm. Nancy like flamed out. Like she was just a flash in the pan because she was supposed to be the hot commodity. And then she went home.
Because Jesse drops a big bomb that there are no other people coming to the hotel, that there are no new potential couples, that this is it. What we're seeing right now, turn to your left. This is your partner for the rest of the show, whether you like it or not. Let's go, Bachelor Pad edition.
What I'd like to do now is each of us, I saw that you noted their Frankenbite. Mm-hmm. Do gabbers know what a Frankenbite is?
Maybe.
A Frankenbite is when you don't have the soundbite you need. And so you Frankenstein, you chop up several sentences and smash them together to make it sound like what you wanted to say. And we heard one of the craziest Frankenbites I've ever seen. And like, I do this for a living, and so I know how to listen for them.
Yeah.
Even people that don't do this for a living were like, wait, did he just... So I'm going to do an impression of I think what happened is they took the last part of what Jesse said at the rose ceremony, and then he went in a studio and recorded whatever the hell the first part was, and they smashed it together. So
definitely ADR.
It sounded like, from this point on, we will be competing for $500,000. It was so obviously two separate sentences smashed together. Like, from this point on in Bachelor in Paradise, you will be choosing money.
I don't know why it's so funny, Grace. The simplest thing.
Wait, no, you do it.
And then you'll compete for $500,000. It's like Bachelor Pad, but bigger.
It was outrageous. I just, if they did that in post, someone would have called Jesse and said, hey, will you say this one line? And they would have had a producer on the phone who had listened to the second half of that sentence to know what they had to write for the first part.
Right.
And apparently no one was like, hey, Jess, could you take that again and maybe just lower the tone of your voice?
This is one of the times when I still genuinely get sad that Chris Harrison is not here. Do you ever feel that way? Or are you like, his time has gone?
I believe that his misogyny, racism, fat phobia, to name a few, were pretty unforgivable.
Okay, agreed.
I've read every single line of every Reddit thread about it. However, I hate Jesse Palmer so much.
Why? Why? To hate him?
I hate him so much that I long for Chris Harrison on the reg. It's true. It's true. I think that Jesse has, like, Chris Harrison was born to be the host of this show. Jesse just got stuck in there. By the way, my favorite fact about Jesse Palmer that everyone forgets, you know that I watched his actual season in like 7th grade. At the first rose ceremony on his season, he, called like Carolyn, Elizabeth. And after he called Elizabeth's name, that wasn't the actual name he said, he goes to speak to Chris Harrison and he says, I just gave a rose to Elizabeth and I meant to give it to Miranda.
Oh, he gave it to the wrong girl. I remember that.
And so then they pull Miranda, they pull the right girl and say, you get a rose. And then they gave Elizabeth.
Yeah. Didn't they give her the option to stay?
And she did stay, which even I think I was in 7th grade at the time. I remember thinking like, okay, good play to stay, but also like, girl, don't go where you're not wanted.
I remember watching that young as well and being like, wow, reality TV is my passion now.
So first of all, I think Jesse's a dum-dum forever and ever. And that was back when they had a blogger that I loved at the time, called it the Pier 1 wall, where there were these like, it looked like it had been decorated by Pier 1, and it was like 5x7 photos of all the contestants.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And the Bachelor would go and like look at the photos and contemplate. God.
Oh my God. Wait,
the early aughts were a great time.
Yes, they are told that this is now a Bachelor Pad style games where the winners and losers of challenges will have and not have power, and they're going to be these relationship tests, which are just what they sound like. Tests for the relationship.
I have to say, one thing that's actually brilliant about this is that no one in this franchise is a gamer.
Yeah.
These are not smart people. They're not clever.
Right. Well, they think the next morning they are pumping iron and asking each other a lot of shit.
Alex thinks that if she learns the color of Andrew's socks, she can win $500,000.
Right. Which, I mean, there is validity to that. The game was literally, how much do you know about your partner?
Okay, well, I hear that there's going to be challenges, and I'm thinking about For Love or Money, which was on ABC. It was on NBC in the early aughts, and there was a thing where the guys were suspended over a pool and they had to hang by a bar for as long as they could.
Yeah.
I hear that there's going to be challenges, and I'm immediately thinking physical. I'm like, what's your mile time, Brian?
Yeah. I think they're going to, I think they're going to wish they had leaned into that a little bit more, because the shtick that we're watching now is like, how much do you know your partner? And that can only be evolved into so many games before it's like, okay, we get it. These people know each other. These people don't. And I don't think people are going to like make out with each other. Like, I don't think there's going to be cheating. So I think it's going to be bland.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Oh, give it.
That the producers made up the $500,000 prize halfway through the season. They were like, guys, we got to come up with something.
Can we have another creative meeting?
Yeah. I'm going to pitch it. Okay, how about if we bring in the Goldens too? They're on the beach in Mexico. They're on the beach in Costa Rica.
Yeah,
we could spice it up.
I need something more. I need it elevated.
We can do a drag show with birds.
We've done that. Remember, that was this episode.
What about $500,000 prize?
That's fucking great. Jeremy will fucking love this.
Hey, boss, where are we going to get $500,000?
Well, okay, and if you notice, he keeps saying up to $500,000. So I'm like,
oh, I didn't notice that.
How much is actually up for grabs here?
That's what makes me think they just made it up. It is very fly by the seat of your pants, because also when Jesse said you're stuck with your partner from here on out, he didn't give any more information.
No.
There's no open, honest, and direct communication, not between couples and not from Jesse Palmer. And by the way, if I had to be stuck with Kim as my partner, I would leave the beach. I would leave the beach.
Wait, why?
Because I've already discussed how much I think Kim was probably a really annoying guy as a young man. I think he gets a pass on his behavior because he's older. I changed my stance as I watched him with Faith. I didn't change that opinion, I have to say.
Their connection is cute, you must admit.
If I had to sit down across from Kim and be like, hey, let's learn as much about each other as possible, he's the kind of guy that would be like, okay, let me tell you about myself. And he would talk the whole time giving me information about himself and wouldn't learn anything about me, and we would lose the challenge.
Interesting. That would frustrate you. For me, if I were Jonathan and Leah, I would just say, oh, just send me home. Because, they're not going to let us get to the finish line. So I'm just, in a waiting game to be kicked off somehow.
Oh, that's interesting, because I'd be like, okay, Jonathan, we have a reason to stay together now, and it's the cash.
Yeah.
And you're a best all-around guy, and so I think you might be good at the challenges. That is so interesting that we had such different takes on that.
Yeah, I know. But they even said, they're like, maybe it's an advantage because their feelings aren't involved. But their feelings were involved, which we'll get into.
Now, sister, I texted you last night as I was watching, and I said, I can't wait for you to explain the game on the pod, because if I had to give a presentation and describe what the hell that game was, I would get an F. It had logic, it had math, and it was not.
But it wasn't as hard as he made it seem. Kyle and I actually play this game a lot, and what we play it with is how old are celebrities?
Okay.
And it's an over-under.
Okay, you can get a grip, because not all of us can graduate in the top 10% of our high school class, and not all of us went to Harvard Business School. So take your game and stuff it.
No, it's literally, Grace, this is the game. Okay, I'll give you on Jim Carrey, how the line, and then, okay, we'll give you the line, and you have to bet whether you think it's over or under. Jim Carrey, 62.
Over.
Great. If you were right, then you would have won. If you weren't.
Alexa, how old is Jim Carrey? 63.
Oh, see? It's a fun game.
All right.
But the way they had to explain it, because basically they asked everyone off-camera questions that have an answer that is a number, and then one at a time he invites people up and he reads the questions and presents a number close to that number, and the partner has a stack of chips and they can bet over or under and how many chips they want. Now, if I were in this game, my strategy would be, if you don't know, bet low. Because you know there are some idiots in here that are going to bet all their fucking chips and lose them. So just don't be in the bottom 3.
First of all, there are some idiots in here. Their names are Brian and Gary. But also, like, get out of here with your, like, I have a mnemonic device to learn how to gamble well because I'm smart. Like, shut up.
If you don't know, bet low. Look, like,
did you make that up, or is that a thing that smart people know?
No, I just made that up. It's not a smart thing. This is a game of saying if a number is bigger or less than another number.
As soon as I hear numbers, I check out. It's like when someone's reciting game instructions, I'm like, nah, dog. My poor sweet trainer Tommy B, he'll tell me how many reps and I have to ask him 16 times. Like, how many? Before I start, while I'm in it, and after I'm done. I can't.
Was it all of those added together? Was that one subtracted from the other?
And he throws in another number, which is the weights that I'm working with, and that gets really confusing. So they get asked questions like, how much do you think she would want you to spend on an engagement ring? How much do you think Faith spends on skincare per month?
Yeah.
Do you think it's over or under $25? She spends under $25 a month on skincare, which I think is shocking.
Yeah, oh no, that one was probably the most shocking one to me.
I get Mountain Valley water. That's skincare.
Yeah.
That's already $25 a month.
Oh no, 25 doesn't count for my parking to go to the Botox doctor, you know?
Correct.
And another important thing of this game is that if you win the game, you are the winner and you have the power. If you lose the game or in the bottom 3 with the least amount of chips, then you are at risk for elimination. And the winner gets to choose which of those 3 bottom couples to take out.
That was interesting to me.
That was nuts.
That is such a emotional manipulation part that my brain was like, da-ding, like the numbers I'm out. But the fact that the winner got to choose what 2 of the bottom 3 people to save.
Yeah.
Which means that they have to pick one person not to say that, to just say like, sorry, you don't get to give out a rose.
And which was interesting because the girls had the power this week. I mean, look, everyone's staying in their couple from here on out. I don't really think we need these rose ceremonies, but whatever. The girls have the power, so it's not Jeremy's decision. It's Bailey's decision because they win the game, which they shouldn't have won because Jeremy, again, for no reason, bet half or all of his chips on the very last question when he didn't need to do that.
Oh, he didn't?
No!
Did he already have enough chips to have won without?
Yes, just to not be eliminated. But the shocker to me was he admitted he had no idea if that question was right or wrong.
The takeaways from the game are that Gary should never gamble. I'd never gambled in my life. I don't gamble. I blame it on my parents. They were kind of elitist about it when we were kids.
Okay, interesting.
Like, they call the lottery the stupid tax.
Nice.
Lots of shaming about gambling in my family. I should talk to my therapist about that. I gamble low in real life. What is it? If you don't know, go low.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I'd put that on a t-shirt, sister.
Only for this game.
No, for everything.
No, Grace, this is where you get into trouble. It doesn't make any sense for anything else.
No, it does. You won't get your heart broken. Go low.
In this game, someone's going to bet an extraordinary amount of chips on something stupid. And so as long as you stay within how many chips you were given and not go home, that would be the goal. That's what Dale did by the end. He was like, I could have bet more, but if I only bet 1, regardless, we know we're safe. There's no reason to risk it.
My takeaways were Faith spends very little money on her face. Brian doesn't know what money is. Because they said, Brian, how much do you think Parisa would spend on a wedding? Over or under 50 grand? And we hear Brian say, I don't know how much weddings cost, which I'm like, how do you not? Now, I've been to 63 weddings, so maybe I'm a little bit ahead of Brian there. But Brian thinks a wedding should cost $15,000. Literally.
Which it could, if that's all you have.
It could if you go to the Sizzler.
Any wedding is so effing expensive. Yeah, if you go to the Sizzler, go to the Cracker Barrel.
Gary puts all of his chips, I'm going to do the layperson explanation. He bet all of his chips on something that he lost.
Gary kamikaze. Gary had the game. He was completely fine. He would have been completely protected.
This is also the thing, sister. You were following the math enough that you saw where they were ranking. As soon as I saw a graphic of what people's numbers were in
Was
one
it
year out the
really
other.
that hard? Because I was thinking, I was like, if I were Leslie and I saw that, I would flip out in my chair and say, no, that doesn't make any sense, Gary. Why would we do that, Gary?
I think that this podcast is a really great opportunity for you to expand your empathy for people that are bad at math. I'm really opening your eyes, which is strange because we've been best friends since we were 14.
Grace.
Although the whole time you were in BC calculus when I was in statistics senior year.
Even Kathy understood that Vegas was laughing at Gary. Gary messed up so badly.
Well, I understood that Gary messed up so badly, but I just understood that he messed up badly because he bet it all and lost it all. I didn't realize how far ahead he was potentially.
Oh, yeah.
It is that Gary shot himself in the foot because if he didn't need to bet it all.
He didn't need to bet at all. He could have bet one and would have been fine. For some reason, on a question that he didn't know the answer to, he decided to just go ham and put like half his chips in. And then it put him in the bottom three.
Bailey and Jeremy won, which meant that they got a date, but it also means that Bailey gets to choose which of the bottom three get roses.
Yeah.
Which actually, I enjoyed this part of it because that began a political campaign for people convincing Bailey. We'll talk about her date with Jeremy, but people began to plead their case to Bailey about why she should give them a rose.
Then this is very much like The Challenge. Have you ever watched it, Grace?
No.
The Challenge. I mean, very similar vibes of there's winners, there's losers, and there's certain like parameters. Every season's different, but a lot of politicking. And that's what I was saying. You don't want to be the winner here. I learned this from The Challenge because as soon as you have power, you're going to have to F someone else up. And then you're in a karma war for the rest of the time. And you're in this mathematical, talk about math, crazy. Like, well, he's going to be mad at me for this because I did this one time, but I voted her. He's my partner now.
I can do
all
that.
This confusing stuff.
I can do the emotional calculating. Don't ask me to do the numerical calculating.
Oh, I get so effing lost. But you don't want to have the power because when you have to vote someone off, then there's a target on your back. So you don't even want to win, Gary. You don't want to win. We don't want to win.
So Jeremy and Bailey won. They go on a date. My main takeaway from that date is Jeremy said, "I'm so glad to be out of the house. The Goldens are annoying." My brother in Christ, what? How dare you?
This is what I'm saying, Ted Bundy. Like, I think if there were, I'll put it this way, if he were in the kitchen with a Golden, hypothetically, and one had a heart attack and fell on the floor, I think he would watch. And I don't think he would call anybody.
That is dark, and you're not wrong.
Like, I think that's the kind of guy Jeremy is. He's scaring me. Like, how he's so two-faced with her of saying, you got me nervous with your last date. I'm someone, if I like you, you'll know I like you.
This is the thing about, going back to what I said earlier, which is these men are so simple.
Yeah.
Jeremy thinks that he's the first person to wear his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
We can talk about Brian and Parisa in a minute. Brian thinks he's the first person that doesn't need words of affirmation and feels smothered by Parisa. They deliver this information as though they're the first person on earth to ever feel this way.
Right.
Jeremy's clearly not TV savvy, which is also an indication that he might actually be 70 years old, which I've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, true.
Because he's not cognizant of what I said earlier is going to be revealed on camera, which is also brilliant about the editing this season is because with Dale and Brian and Jeremy, they are rolling the clip in real time. They're not even waiting for the reunion to roll the clip. They're rolling it on the show to be like, Jeremy saying, I would never say that. 3 hours earlier, he said that.
Yeah, exactly. And they're even doing it with the subtitles of being like, okay, he said that. We get it. Or whatever their sassy remark is. Yeah. Very Gen Z. They watch fireworks. It's beautiful. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, we have, Watergate going on. I tried to pick a political event, and that was the first one that came to my mind. It wasn't Watergate. It was just an election.
Yeah, it was like getting the delegate votes for the DNC.
That's a much better analogy for it.
Brian was acting like it was Watergate and he was Richard Nixon.
Brian and Parisa are on a downward spiral. And this, a couple things took me by surprise. Okay, one, at some point it is admitted that they are, and this answers my question from last week, they are having sex. Did you catch that?
No.
There's one line in there where it was like, we've been intimate. And then if you look at the clip of her breaking down the night before, you see that she's topless in his bed.
Yes, yes.
Which is like, oh, so people are like philandering around the rooms and stuff at night. Like there was probably a lot of this going down that we don't know about. We also just see her break down for, again, she's just picking up on the energy and she doesn't know how to articulate it well.
Meanwhile, Brian, again, who believes he is the first man in the history of Earth to have thoughts and feelings, he says to her, "You're being too needy. You give me compliments all the time and it makes me feel smothered." Mm-hmm. And then he also says, "I don't need words of affirmation like you do." And again, he thinks that he's like doing her a favor by saying these things to her.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta give brutal honesty for us to work. But to a degree, I understand if he is feeling that way, he needs to communicate. That was the most like ineffective communication I've ever seen for a note for your partner.
He was basically like, I don't need words of affirmation, and so you shouldn't need them either.
Yeah.
And in fact, it makes me annoyed when you give them to me.
And it made me sad for Parisa because she is in her head and she's like, okay, yeah, got it. Thank you, no.
He communicated something shitty and he communicated it shittily.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just took it. But also, again, we're never really getting to the bottom of what's actually going on with them. Like, if I were her, I would be like, hey, the night that we were in the VIP suite, what was going on? Were you annoyed with me? Were you sleepy? Did you need something? Mm-hmm. You just completely shut me down and shut me out. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But instead, she's just like, yeah, we had a rough night last night. What? And then they have this conversation and she's like, okay, you just gave me feedback. Thanks.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, no, you've told me what you need. Now I'm going to tell you what I need.
Yeah, exactly. And don't shame me for what I need.
We get to the night of the rose ceremony. That was the night that she and Brian had such a weird conversation. And we begin a full-fledged campaign for people pleading their cases to Bailey and Jeremy about why they should get the rose.
And Jeremy is impersonating John Gotti. Like he loves this power. It again is a little Ted Bundy. Like he is so thrilled and he's not like embarrassed to admit how much he likes this.
And I actually said this weeks ago. It's such a red flag to me on this show when guys are like, it's so nice to have the power this week. Red flag.
Red flag.
Red flag. And so he's like, yeah, he's getting off on what a power trip it is, that people have to plead their case. And what was interesting to me is that the Goldens were much more straight shooters. Mm-hmm. They were direct about why they thought they should stay. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest, like I said, I did have a bit of an arc with Kim.
Yep.
Watching him trot and gallop on the beach with Faith was kind of endearing.
I thought you were going to say make out passionately.
Nope. It was not when they shared a passionate kiss.
Yeah.
his jaw, great mobility, sir, for your age, but nope, just keep it a little closer together. I loved that he galloped and trotted with Faith. It was upsetting to me that he was in a tank top. As you know, my father wears tank tops and it's a point of contention. That was kind of triggering that he was wearing a tank top. But I loved that he like trotted with her. That was very whimsical. Summer of whimsy.
Summer of whimsy. And they give their plea to Jeremy and Bailey being like, look, we just started hitting it off and we don't know where we're going to go from here because we literally just met like yesterday and we want to see this through. So if we go, then we'll never know. We don't know if we'll see each other after this. I think Gary, had he fought harder, could have stayed because I would have gone political and said, we were supposed to stay for the game. I fucked it up. But it's because like I didn't understand the rules or something. And technically, I was supposed to be the winner. I was supposed to be in your seat or something like that.
He must not be bad enough at math to make that case because I could have made that case.
Right?
I would have been like, hey, Bailey, it was the math, babe.
Yeah.
That's what tripped me up. But I also loved what was smart about what he did is he straight up floated an alliance. He was literally like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like,
yes. Yeah, he did do that. And Brian tried to do that.
I will not dignify Brian's behavior by saying it was The Godfather. He was like the possum in Zootopia that's a satire of The Godfather. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Brian sits Jeremy down and is like, eh. It's like, I know we have differences. While he's like polishing a knife.
He does not.
While he's cleaning his gun.
He doesn't sound like that, Grace. You just added 30 years of smoking to his life.
While he's eating a very rare steak. He's like,
with a cigar dangling.
You help me out, I can help you out.
Why is your neck retracting so much?
I have to say, as much as I loathe Brian, one note that I made is his behavior has been so erratic that it's mildly compelling. I don't know what we're going to get from this guy.
Well, I think he doesn't know either. Like, this conversation, he clearly didn't know what the fuck he was doing because he wasn't going to say, like, an alliance. He didn't want to, but he also didn't want to not pull him aside. So he was like, I'm just going to pull you aside to tell you nothing.
He's smart enough. He's smart enough to know how to set the scene for a negotiation. He's got his gold chain and he's got his cigar. And he's got the Cadillac out back.
The horse head, man.
He's not smart enough to know how to actually negotiate.
And that's when they brought up the incident that you mentioned earlier of the Corvette. And Jeremy was like, I could send you home for that. And you know he loved to say that to Brian. You never know. Yeah, that's why my father always says, never burn a bridge if you don't have to. Sometimes you have to.
What is it with your family and the pithy one-liners?
We have a literally like they're like the 4 not commandments, but we have like a list.
Yeah, well, the 5th one is if you don't know, go low.
Only if you're playing a competitive gambling game about how much you know about other people. It's very specific.
Also, it is clear to me that even in the way that Gary tries to negotiate the Rose, it seems like I think the Olds must be rich. The Goldens must be rich because none of them are really talking about the money.
I was thinking about this too. I think it's a little bit of wisdom of them being like, the money doesn't really matter. Okay, this sounds horrible, but they're not going to be around for that much longer. I mean, they are. Hopefully a lot of them have like up to like 30 years left, maybe. That's a lot. Then I don't know if any, but like, oh my God, I need to stop talking. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but also their lives would not be, by the way, like the reason, this is also what you're saying, is that the reason why my life could be changed with $500,000 is because of the long-term investing I could do.
Exactly. You could buy a house. You could do that stuff, which they could do now.
They do not have as many market and economy swings in their future as you and I do.
Exactly. Well, that's not fair because they also would love to go on a nice cruise, I bet. like I bet anyone who had $500,000 would want it.
Which is why I think that a lot of them must already be rich.
Yeah. Or just like financially settled. And you probably had to be financially somewhat settled to get on the show to be a desirable golden bat. Yeah.
Also, I mean, their generation, I have a book on my shelf about boomers called A Generation of Sociopaths, because they're the reason, sweetheart, they are the reason that we can't buy houses because of their legislation. But I think that they are much more settled. And so Kim and Faith, who I'm suddenly rooting for.
Yeah, out of left field.
Kim and Faith are like, hey, Bailey, give us a chance to get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Super great. Now, meanwhile, elsewhere in the hotel, Jonathan is in deep hot water because he told Kat that he doesn't have romantic feelings for Leah, which is stupid, Jonathan. And Kat immediately tells Leah, and Leah goes immediately back to Jonathan.
Let's also take a moment to acknowledge how much better women are at gossiping than men.
Seriously, at least be smart about it.
Which, by the way, the notion in the church that gossip is bad comes from like a puritanical preacher in the 1700s because women were exchanging too much information.
Oh,
and
they were like, stop that. Like, I gotta cut it off.
It got labeled as gossip and sinful. Gossip is literally just women looking out for each other 99% of the time.
I mean, she looked out for her and Leah went straight to face it head on, which props to her.
But also the way in which these women, they're so much better at keeping track of what was said. They keep receipts. They deliver information more accurately.
Yeah.
These dudes are just like, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Leia pulls Jonathan aside and is like, hey, Kat said you're not into me.
And he was basically caught with his pants down and was like, yep, that's right. I, in fact, do not like you.
And she was like, so you don't like me, even though you said you did? And he was like, yep.
Yeah, yes. 100%, uh-huh. Absolutely.
So when she gives him the rose, she calls his name, hands him a rose, and says, "You're welcome."
I think, is that a first in Bachelor history?
Yeah.
That was amazing. I loved that for them. But like I said, she wants to be in the game.
But that goes back to my thing where I'm like, maybe they are a good shot for this because they don't have romantic skin in the game.
Yeah, that's true. It just depends what these fucking challenges are going to be. Like, the next one looks like a crazy secret compatibility thing. They're trying to set it up, too. Like, they've kind of teased Brian and Bailey a little bit. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
About how much Brian loves Bailey, and then, oh my gosh, the compatibility tests are going to be the only ones for each other type thing. I don't know why I said that, but I thought it was interesting.
No, it was interesting. Again, so next week we are going to see him out Jeremy with the justification of Bailey was going to find this out anyway. I might as well tell her.
Right.
That's a cheap line, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
What he's really trying to do is torpedo Jeremy's chances.
Yes.
And so for him to say it's because she's going to find out anyway and I'm looking out for her, like, shut up. No, it's not. But
yeah.
But he's not incorrect.
The noble thing to do, I guess, but his intentions might not be entirely pure. I do agree with that. Either way, I'm glad that she's going to know that so she doesn't get stabbed in her sleep or whatever Ted did to his victims.
So Bailey gives a rose to Faith to give out, who gives it to Kim. And who's the other one she gives out?
Okay, so this is the list of couples we have from this rose ceremony going forward for the rest of Bachelor in Paradise. We have Bailey and Jeremy, Spencer and Jesse, Andrew and Alex, Dale and Kat, Sean and Alicia, Leah and Jonathan, you're welcome, as we just covered, Keith and Kathy, Brian and Parisa, Kim and Faith, which means Gary and Leslie go home.
Oh, so she gave the other rose to Parisa.
Yeah.
So Bailey chose to give roses to Faith, who gave it to Kim, and Parisa, who gave it to Brian. And I have to say, when Bailey informed Leslie that she was not giving her a rose, she may as well have been on the Titanic saying there's not room in the lifeboat.
She called her down to tell her that she didn't get it. I would be a little
It
disappointed.
felt like a fake out. She was calling her down as though she was going to say, I'm giving you a rose. And then she burst into tears and was like, there's no more room on the lifeboats. I'm so sorry.
It was giving that like Miss Universe pageant where they announced the winner and then they're like, oh, sorry, we said the wrong person. Wasn't Steve Harvey who did that?
I don't know about that, but I do know about the Oscars when they said it was La La Land and it was Moonlight.
Yes, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
I was Busy Phillips making the face. Yeah, no, because that was a bummer. And again, a disappointed Leslie I'm disappointed too. Every time she's down, I'm down.
Well, Gary did this to them. I mean, that does suck. That's such a minor decision in the grand scheme of things could alter the course of their entire relationship. Like, had they stayed in the game longer, I don't know, had they gone through the whole thing together, maybe it would have been different.
Well, they both left and were like, we're going to explore. I don't know what their current status is, but they were like, we're going to explore our relationship. I do wonder, it is a bummer to me because Gary is the one that has the most charisma and I think had the biggest chance of talking Bailey into giving Leslie the rose.
That's what I'm saying. I think he had a shot.
Especially compared to, I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. But I wonder if producers influence Bailey to keep Brian and Parisa just for the drama.
I assumed they were going to let Kim and Faith go.
And I have to say, I actually honestly see more of a spark between Kim and Faith than I do between Gary and Leslie.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I did find it shocking that Faith's husband had only been dead for a year before she went on the show.
Yes.
I think Kim was saying that both Nancy and Faith had deceased spouses.
Yes. But she was divorced before he died.
Oh, that's right. Because she talked about grieving his death. She didn't grieve the end of the marriage until he died.
Which I want to hear more about her music career. I saw that online. She mentioned it, how she just threw herself into the music. So I need to go on Spotify.
But that was crazy. Even so, even though they'd been divorced, the fact that she said, I didn't mourn the loss of our marriage until he died.
Yeah.
That's all the more reason to be like, babe, give it some more time.
Give it more time. But hey, there's nothing like getting over somebody than getting under a bunch of, well, they deserve pleasure as well. Everyone does. It's a beautiful world.
Pleasure equality here at Girls Unscripted.
just spat my water out.
Equal opportunities.
Who knows? And who knows, for all we know, there's philandering on that side of the camp too, within the hotels. I doubt it. I doubt it.
Sister, no, there is. You know that at retirement communities, there's rampant STDs?
Yes. Yes. How fun. How...
Okay.
How great. What a thing to look forward
Great
to.
to be liberated.
Yeah.
So liberated you get chlamydia.
So those are our couples for this week, and we get a preview of what's to come. We see a preview of the next relationship test, which seems like some sort of anonymous compatibility test.
We see Brian out Jeremy.
Yes, it's going to be a good time.
But also, and then we see footage of Bailey sobbing and saying, I just want to go home. Because of how two-faced Jeremy is, that would make it more shocking to find out that he had been saying all this stuff. Because if Parisa found out that Brian had been saying stuff behind her back, she'd be like, well, no shit, Sherlock.
This is what I was worried about.
But it's on her radar.
Right.
Bailey is not even aware that there's a chance that Jeremy could be saying stuff behind her back.
It is a blind side.
It's a blind side.
It's an absolute blind side. And I feel bad for her for that. But now that they have this Bachelor Pad style, would she leave? Would you still even have a chance to win? I just don't understand the mechanics of the game yet. But as you said, maybe the producers don't either.
That's why you don't understand, because the producers still don't understand. They are making it up as they go. They were like, hey, can we reconstruct the kissing booth into another kind of tent and call it a compatibility test? Swap some spit. Like flying by the seat of their pants.
I'm there for the ride. I will fly with them.
Absolutely. And I mean, Gary and Leslie, I love Gary. He's not great TV because he's so low drama. He's delightful to watch, but
he's not going to screw someone over. Although he does say money makes people do crazy things.
I did love when Jeremy was on the date and he had the audacity to tell Bailey that the Goldens were annoying. He was like, they just talk so much. And it flashed to Gary, to be fair, monologuing to Keith about every day I got to look in the mirror and decide to be better. And Keith is like, only you can do that, man.
Yeah. I thought Keith gave such a good response there. That is another good example of, you're right. Keith would be a fun parent to quarantine with.
Yeah, they if you went over to their house, they would have games, they would have snacks.
Yeah.
They would have clean sheets on the bed.
Yeah, totally.
And they'd be like, come tell me about your problems,
Absolutely.
They are a power couple in that way.
Yeah, they are the king and queen of paradise. Is that what they said? Who called themselves the king and queen? It might have been them.
I don't know.
Did no one say that? I might be mixing my shows up.
You might be mixing them up.
It happens.
Let's make predictions for next week. But it's we don't know how the game's going to go. And so we don't know who would be good at winning or not.
Right. Because we don't know the constructs of the game, there's nothing we can possibly predict yet. If it's love-based competition and they want those who are truly the most in love to win, it's a little less exciting for me, because it's we know Jesse and Spencer have the best. It's easy to see who the good connections are and who the bad connections are.
I don't think I would have an allyship. I don't think I would align myself with Jeremy. But Jeremy is probably a good game player because he's such a shark.
Yeah.
I still stand by Jonathan. I also think Jonathan's, he might be kind of easy to manipulate, and so he would do whatever I told him to do when it came to playing the game.
Which is important to you.
Spencer and Jess, they don't have I don't think they're full of strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we barely know them because, again, they're not great TV because there's no conflict.
They have just a full paid vacation without cameras. They're just living the life.
And they're going to get back and start browsing retirement communities where they can retire together, and they're going to put a down payment. By the way, that's what you and Memorable Kyle should do. You need to find a place and you put a deposit down at a retirement community.
You do that now?
Yes. Well, not now. You do it in your 60s. But what's wrong with doing it now? Think about it.
Nothing. Is it rent controlled?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Is that how that works there?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That would be so great. I would lock it in.
But yeah, there's no way to determine, because also if it's physical challenges, I actually would put Spencer and Jess ahead because they seem to be in good shape.
Well, Jonathan, I think, would kill everybody. Well,
Correct.
No, Dale would kill everybody. Oh,
That's
I don't know. They're all ripped.
Yeah, except for Gary.
Right,
and
except
Keith.
for right, yes.
I'm worried about
Half
Keith's
of them.
rotator cuffs.
Yeah, I'm worried about Kim's heart. We didn't even mention.
He got anxiety.
He got anxiety. His heart rate got so high. They were worried about him. Oh my gosh, I can't. I mean, another fun couple of episodes. We are back. We are better than ever. We can't wait to check in.
You're hotter than ever.
Thanks so much, sister. You gas me up. You are beautiful as well. You are beautiful in everything you do.
Well, thank you. But like you had such a glow up after Mexico, I feel.
Oh my God. I mean, maybe just go flirt with a stranger or something. I don't know. I feel alive.
Make sure you turn your mic off.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gabbers. Until next time.
See you next week.
Bye.